I'm Richard Randall, and welcome back to the Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. Barb is the Real Estate Voice, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and it educates you on how to buy or to sell real estate. And it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, many home sellers fear the inspection. Many people think most buyers want to purchase their home as is. So, what are some of the red flags that home sellers need to be prepared for when they're selling their home?
Well, Richard, as far as inspections are concerned, the fear is very real. So, one of the latest trends, and let me give you an example, one of the latest trends on inspections that's probably happened in the last 5 years or so is that the inspector will check out either the sewer line or the line that goes to the septic or to the sewer. And that's called a sewer scope. So sometimes they do crazy things like pull toilets without permission. And every time I talk to a home seller about that particular system, most of them don't pay a lot of attention to it unless there's a problem, like a backup. They're like, we've never had any problems. It must be fine. But it can be a very, very big ticket repair if you have to fix it, especially a fractured sewer line. Basically, the homeowner is responsible for the sewer line from the house to the connection to the main sewer system. And I've had people spend, anywhere on just on a sewer line, I would say anywhere from $3,500 to $9,000 to repair those things. It's pretty expensive.
My God.
And it's the worst time to find out is after you're already under contract, you're already packing your boxes, getting ready to move. And they're saying, oh, well, we need you to fix the sewer line. So you start getting bids. The problem is you're in a time constraint. So you really don't have time to negotiate for the best deal. So that's why we help our clients to make sure that there are no surprises going into selling a home. Sellers also worry about building code issues, or that buyers are going to ask for unreasonable things. And in general, the buyers want to buy. And even though the contract says the home is sold as is, where is with all its faults, it's not really as is. They're going to do an inspection and they're going to ask for stuff. Now, I know I've told you this before, Richard, but in the state of Colorado, it seems crazy to me, but there is no license, no qualification, no criteria whatsoever to be a home inspector. Can you believe that?
You know, Barb, we are overregulated, in my opinion, in so many areas, but this is one area where you'd like a little bit of regulation. The fact that I could just go out and be a home inspector tomorrow if I wanted to just seems crazy.
I've had landscapers inspect my listings before. That did not go well. And, if it makes homeowners feel any better, most inspectors get an online certification. And most of them are referred by the real estate agents. Oh, use this guy, don't use that guy. What the agents want is they want to have somebody that substantiates that they're advocating for the buyer. So they're not on the seller's side. In fact, some agents, I swear, they're in the sales prevention business. They try to blow up deals at this phase of the contract. It's hilarious. I know you think that sounds weird, but they'll encourage their buyers to ask for things that the buyer didn't even really want, some stupid minor stuff. Let me give you an example. Last summer, we had a sale going on, and the inspector came up with his gadget. It was the infrared scanner. It's supposed to read heat, basically temperature differences behind the drywall. And so if they read that plumbing went through that wall back there and it's a different temperature, the assumption is there's a plumbing leak. But in this case, Mr. and Mrs. Seller had just taken a shower and the inspector showed up. So what's he say? Oh, there's a leak back there. So that's the kind of stuff that we go through all the time to try and basically dispel when these inspectors come up with these crazy things. There are actually 33 physical problems that come under scrutiny in an inspection. And, I know the inventory is still on the low side, but it is moving more towards a buyer's market. Some buyers will come in and say, oh, I'm only going to ask for health and safety and electrical and plumbing. That's pretty much all of it.
Yes.
But I think they're trying to say that they're not going to ask for cosmetic issues, but they do. So, here are the high cost things. Typically roofs in this climate, most people have that composite shingle material on their roofs, and it just takes one hailstorm or a windstorm to mess it up. Furnace replacements are expensive. Electrical panels are expensive. Now, why would they ask for that? There's one particular brand, actually one or two brands of electrical panels in this market. One of them is the Federal Pacific, and I forgot what the other one was. But anyway, if you go online and research it, it will make you think your house is going to catch on fire. What they did when they got their UL rating, when they built these panels, is they didn't use the same breakers as what they ultimately put in their panels. And so if those circuits overloaded, they didn't pop, causing house fires. So most buyers are going to ask for a new panel if it's that brand. You don't have to do anything on repairs, but don't be surprised if that happens. Structural stuff, of course, can be really costly. Sewer and septic repairs, we talked about that. Mechanical things that come under scrutiny are things like, furnace, water heater. Now, if the temperature is below 50, they can't really do much with the air conditioner if it has an air conditioner. A lot of inspectors will ask on the electrical side to bring the electricity to today's building code, which is not required. If the house is built in the 80s, it doesn't have to be built to 2023 building code. But a lot of them ask for what they call a GFCI, which is ground fault circuit, anywhere there's water put into the house, especially if it's been updated. And then there's some hidden things that you may not see. Plumbing leaks or assumptions of plumbing leaks, like the guy with the thermal scanner. And here's one thing a lot of people don't know. I ask this question when I meet with home sellers. What is included with the sale of a house? Obviously, personal property is not included. Window coverings are considered to be included unless you accept them. But another thing that's considered personal property that a lot of people don't know are the appliances that are the refrigerators, the washers, and the dryers, and a separate freezer if you have them. Those are personal property. If you want to include them, I tell my clients it's a gift to the buyer, because if you ever have gone out there and tried to purchase used appliances, it's really expensive. So you want to, if you're going to include those things, what I encourage my sellers to do is just offer those items as is, as a courtesy, meaning we're not going to fix it. Let me tell you one story. I recently met with a lady that had a beautiful house, beautiful kitchen, but the refrigerator was a little dinged up. It had a few issues with it freezing in certain places, and it was stuck out in the kitchen. It wasn't quite counter depth. And she goes, should I replace that before I sell the house? I'm like, no, that's a prezi to the buyer. If you went out and bought a counter depth refrigerator, you're going to spend $2,400 at least. So no, just, give it to them as a courtesy and we'll go from there. We talked about the sewer line. What else is interesting? Plumbing, septic can be hugely expensive. Now, a septic system versus sewer system, the county, and most of these counties around here do require that they get inspected prior to the transfer of ownership, because they're trying to make sure that the groundwater is protected from contamination. Typically, that cost runs about $600. Typically, it is a seller's cost. So that's something that you need to be prepared for as well if you have a septic system. So my name is Barb Schlinker with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I'm the host of the Real Estate Voice, and we're talking about whether or not we have to worry about inspections in particular, because that's usually the major reason why contracts fail in this market. The other thing that you should take a look at with regard to inspections for sure are roof issues. So this is very interesting because a lot of roofs get damaged from wind or hail or something like that. If an inspector comes along and says, hey, you need a new roof, we want a new roof or whatever, bring in a licensed roofer to look at it. Don't trust these unlicensed inspectors. They're not roofers. They have no idea what they're doing. Half the time they ask for way more than what they're expecting. So you want to bring in a professional that does roofs, that knows whether or not the roof is shot or whether or not the roof just needs a minor repair. And we actually include a free roof inspection with our listings. One thing that can be really spendy now, I know it's a big trend for people to put solar panels on their roofs, but if they have a composite shingle that needs replacing, it actually adds a lot of expense to replace that roof. You have to hire a solar company to pull the panels off, replace the roof, hire a solar company again to put it back on. So it could be more expensive. And basically, some of these roofers are really good at negotiating with the insurance companies because they could minimize how much out of pocket you have for roof repairs if it meets your deductible. I've seen inspectors blow up deals over their little gadget that's supposed to read carbon monoxide on a brand new furnace. I've seen people come in with mold wands. I've seen crazy stuff. And you know what? An inspection and appraisal are two different things. Inspection is about the house systems. An appraisal is about an opinion of value. They actually don't do a full-on inspection. All they're checking for is, does the home meet the loan criteria guidelines? And it's market value. So there are two types of loans that are a little bit more strict, FHA and VA loans. And what the things that they will ask for as far as repairs on appraisals would be things like broken windows, peeling paint on the outside, missing stair rails, missing outlet covers, and any safety issue. So my name's Barb Schlinker. My website is barbhasthebuyers.com. I have over 27,000 buyers in waiting on my website. Typically, I can match at least 100 buyers to any home all up and down the Front Range. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. And if not, you can go to my website, barbhasthebuyers.com, and download one of our free reports. This one's a good one about inspections, entitled The 11 Things You Need to Know Before You Pass an Inspection. And you can order that by going to barbhasthebuyers.com and clicking on free reports. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb is the real estate voice. And remember, you pretty much have one-stop shopping at Barb Has the Buyers. You can find the podcast, you can find all of the reports, all of the YouTubes as well. And if you're interested in selling your home, you want to call Barb at 719-301-3900. We've been talking about red flags, home inspections, sellers, buyers. Barb knows this inside and out and has been along the Front Range for more than 2 decades. You're listening to the Real Estate Voice. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about top agent hiring mistakes. You want to make sure you hire the very best. Your home's probably the biggest asset of your entire life. You want it protected by somebody who cares about you and your home. That is Barb Schlinker. A short break. We'll talk more with the Real Estate Voice, Barb Schlinker, when we come back.